Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today at the 2020 Virtual Fairfax County Public Schools Mental Health and Wellness Conference and ANOVA Act on Addiction Summit. This webinar series would not be possible without the generous support of Joan and Russell Hitt. Before I introduce our speaker, here are a few housekeeping notes. All participant lines have been muted and everyone's video has been turned off. We will be taking questions via the Q&A feature, and they can be submitted at any time. We will do our best to get to as many questions as we can. Now, our speaker today is Ellen Pritchard Dodge, Educational Director at Komochi's and founder of the Parenting Partner. Ellen is a recognized leader in character education and communication skills in the classroom. She has published numerous books and articles in the area of social emotional learning. Ellen's interactive workshop style and effective communication strategies and passion for raising children's social emotional intelligence makes her a sought-after speaker. She has extensively taught in public schools in Northern California, where her communication curriculum won a National Character Education Award. I'm going to remind you to take off your glasses. You did it without the reminder, Ellen. And thank you so much for being here. Take it away.
Thank you. And I'm pushing my share screen, and I might need somebody in the back end to allow me. But while I'm getting that tech help, welcome. And grandparents, parents, caregivers, mental health professionals, speech pathologists, teachers, whoever is joining today, the conversation about feelings. And I'm obviously sitting in front of a big bowl of colorful something. These are called komochis. Komochis is a Japanese word that means feelings. But the important part is that feelings are a thing. They're real. You know this. And we want to learn how to think about feelings and talk about feelings so that people we love, people that we're teaching, people that we're helping will want to talk about their feelings. And why is it such a big deal? Why does everyone want to know what everybody's feeling? There's many reasons, but the basic reason I'm a parent of 3, is I want to feel close to people that I love. And when someone lets you in on their stories of their life, these are all stories. Feelings have stories. You feel closer. As a parent, you want your kids to talk to you about feelings so you know if they're having a hard time. Mental health professionals, teachers, you also want kids to talk about this. So thank you for getting these slides up. The first slide is showing that you cannot share screen while the other participant is sharing. Okay, that when we directly teach anything like brushing teeth, parents, we spend a lot of time teaching kids to brush teeth. And you can pause the video, the slide, we're going to keep it right there. And I'll say next slide. Thank you. So with feelings, this is about a start over in your house to go back and be like, hey, just like you go in and say, we need to clean up the garage or we need to change things around, you can go home and talk about feelings in a totally different way. Because this slide is what we all want. We want to feel happy, right? Next slide. And we don't always feel happy. You know this, I know this, but why this is an important slide is what happens to us when you see that your child has sad feelings. It's so easy to accidentally want to take it away by saying things like, oh, you don't have to feel sad, or don't feel sad. So my face and my voice were very connected and very compassionate. But listen to the words again. Don't feel sad, or you don't have to feel sad. And what that does to the other person is it makes them think something's wrong with sad. Your body already doesn't feel good, and then your teacher or your parent or anyone tells you not to have it. We're not doing that. Next slide. Mad. Everybody gets mad. And we say this to kids. We say it in the classroom. We say it at home. I'm a mom. I get mad. I don't think people like to admit that we get mad, because this next idea about feelings, I think we're confused about. If I say I'm mad, then some people might think, oh, does that mean she doesn't love me anymore, or we're not friends anymore? No, it means I'm mad. Okay, each feeling is a separate word, and it hits us in different ways, and they come in sizes. Next slide. Feelings, this is the foundation. All these feelings, and this is 28 words. There are so many feeling words. In fact, I was thinking the other day, I guess every year they create a new color. I was thinking they should create a new feeling word, because I don't think we have enough of them. Feelings fuel behavior. So if I'm mad, I'm going to do something with my mad. Parents, mental health professionals, teachers, SLPs, a lot of people default to behaviors. I love the word default. I yell, I hit, I say something, I roll my eyes. None of those behaviors helps the man. It makes people disconnect, okay? So at Komochi's, which just like you teach reading and you teach writing and science, we teach feelings. In your home, you're gonna say, all feelings are okay. In fact, they're all important. We need them all. All behaviors are not. I'll say it again. All feelings are okay, all behaviors are not. That's a really quick, shame-free way to let someone know you need to try something different, because that move didn't work. Okay, click through a couple more, because little Komochis will come up, and you can go to the next slide. Okay, now some of you have teenagers, and you might have kids in their 20s. My kids are in their 20s now. It's a lot of work and a lot of feelings. And I'm goofing around, but it's really true. I used to really not like it when people would say, oh, don't blink, it goes so fast. And there were days I thought, it's 6 a.m., it cannot go fast enough. And I think if parents could admit real feelings and know that had nothing to do with my love for my kids, that had everything to do with, it's an exhausting emotional job. Parenting is one of the most emotional jobs I've ever done. And I've done a lot of emotional jobs, like even teaching about emotions. Okay, this slide, here's what I want us to think. Little kids, we build vocabulary explicitly. Oh, this is red. These are grandma's glasses. This is my lipstick. We label. We don't do a good job labeling feelings beyond happy, sad, mad, and a couple other usual suspects. So with little kids, you're going to help them be feeling detectives. And we're going to be giving you, when they send the recording, lots of free resources that will show you how to activate this at home. With older kids, you're not going to do that, but you're going to use a very big vocabulary. You could get a whiteboard and see if your family can get up to 100 feeling words. And the whole idea is, the more vocabulary you have, and the more at ease and the more fun feelings are, you raise the odds that when kids really need help with their feelings, they can find the right feeling, like not right, but they can name it, as we like to say. And instead of our boys saying they're mad all the time, they may actually be feeling left out, or they might be feeling jealous. So let's up that vocabulary. Now, I'm going to tell a little story. I put this poster up whenever I train, and if I had little kids in my house still, I would have feelings somewhere in the house. 2 reasons. Because anything you put in your house and what you do with your time is telling your kids what you value. So if you value art, you have art resources. If you value science, you might have a microscope and some other things. If you have, we're going to send you feeling flashcards. If you have a feeling board, it just says This is important to us. And then this cracks me up because 2 days into COVID, when I thought it was going to last 2 weeks, and now we're not even really sure what's going to happen, my feeling poster fell and it broke. And I was, of course I had big feelings around it. And then I thought, this is perfect because I'm never fixing this, because this communicates to me and anyone I tell and anyone that says, hey, you ever going to fix that poster? To say, we're not perfect. Life is not perfect. And when this fell, it reminds me that feelings are very fragile right now. Your feelings can handle you and you can handle your feelings. I'm emotional because I think this is the change. Okay, next slide. I love this. It's so easy. When kids are little, they're like puppies. Look at this little guy. His hands are in his daddy's hands, and they just love to touch. Not all children, but younger children tend to be like, you're my hero. Yeah, at about 12, that goes away. They become cats. They slink into the room. And so we need to change our style. We're not changing our love. But what I love about this visual is it's saying, show me. So many people make us talk. All people are not talkers. Boys tend to not want to talk about their feelings as much, but that's not because they're boys. It's because this is a whole workshop. Follow William Pollock's work. He's a hero to me. That we need to give boys more time. We don't need to go after them. And I'm going to give you some of these tips and tricks. But we need to share our feelings too. Next slide. Parents, you know this. You cannot do it all. Speech pathologists, teachers, mental health workers. I'm an SLP, a speech pathologist. We have IEPs. I cannot get to every goal. So this slide is to help you get in a habit of saying, if I could do one thing as a professional that'll make the biggest difference, what is that going to be? What's the one tool this kid needs? As a mom, dad, grandparent, whoever is raising the children that you've come to listen to this presentation, what is your legacy? You're not going to be able to cut all the meat, tie the shoes, do everything. Some of it's just got to go by the wayside. But what do you stand for? Because by the time they leave your nest, it does feel good. You're going to look back and be like, well, didn't get to this, but I got to this. For me, and we don't have to be samesies. I wanted my kids to leave and say, when you have feelings, big feelings that are hard to have, I want you to be kind with your feelings. That means find your voice, be kind to you, speak up, but use your tools, which I'm going to show you these tools. Anybody can be kind when others are kind. But can you be kind when people forget? And I love that sentence. I think it's worth bringing into a house, so I give it to you if it's a fit for you. Next slide. Okay. Feelings have stories, but first, I'm going to show you how they work. This is pretty darn cool. With little kids, and again, I'm just going to show you what I do with kids, but you'll get the gist, because I want you to have a language of feelings and a method for thinking about them and talking about them so your kids will talk to you. So basically, we have a happy plate and a not so great feeling plate. And we say to kids, all feelings are okay, all behaviors are not. And there's two groups, and we sort them. So happy, some feelings you wake up and go, oh, I want to have those. So I'll never turn down happy. I'll never turn down excited. I'll never turn down, I'm definitely a fan of silly. I want to give my family, my classroom, the language of these are easy to have and enjoyable. These are not bad feelings. Some of us have habit talk. We'll say bad by accident. No bad feelings, but feelings can make your body not feel good. So we call them hard to have. I love how regular that is. It's so duh. Okay, so uncomfortable is a big one right now. I don't wake up and go, oh, I hope I'm really uncomfortable today when I do my presentation. But maybe I will be. Oh, well, all feelings are okay. And now your kids can regulate a little bit more. You can regulate a little more because you can go, oh, I remember that lady was saying, I'm going to have them all, and they come all day long, and I hope this plate is bigger than this plate, but I'm going to show you what to do. All right. I love talking about the way to look at feelings. Feelings have stories. So here are something happened to tell you about silly. I'm going to give you top ways to talk to kids so kids will talk about feelings. Number one, reduce question asking. I know, you're going to watch yourself. We mostly do this. When someone comes in the door, we say, hey, how are you? How was your day? Blah, blah, blah. And you get nothing. You get the fine. You may be luckier than me. I got nothing. So instead of saying, what are you feeling? Blah, blah, blah. Tell us something about your day. Or if you see something on your kid's face, they got a backpack filled with stuff, they've dyed their hair green, they, whatever, say what you see. And you'd say, oh, is there a story to that green paint? And when you say, is there a story? Or if they tell you, I'm so mad at my brother, say, oh, tell me the whole story about you're mad. Game changer, because they will tell you the whole story. So tell me the story is a great one. Feelings come in sizes. Feelings come in, I can have a little happy, medium happy, big happy. With little kids, I use my hands. Oh, is it a big excited or a little excited? With older kids, you're not going to do that, but you're going to be like, wow, that looks like you got some big excitement there, so that they understand we want to grow. We want big grateful, big hopeful, big excited, big love, big brave. And when we have big mad, we need a tool so that we don't do the wrong thing. So it comes in sizes. Practice. Say to your kids, say to your classroom, say to your clients, whoever's listening, that practice makes better, not perfect. We're going to practice when we're mad, not yelling. We're going to practice when we're frustrated, not quitting, because this is the game changer to frame and hug challenging behaviors. When a kid of any age does the wrong thing with their feelings, then we can say, looks like you need some more practice with that. Practice, redo, say to your family, say to their classroom, I forgot to tell you something. I totally forgot to tell you. And I took this class. Tell them you took a class tonight. It's a great growth mindset. I'm learning. I already knew about feelings, but this class I went to said, all feelings are okay, all behaviors aren't. But she also said, we're all going to make mistakes. We're going to do things we regret. Yell, push, scream. A family could make a list of all the mistakes you make. And it removes it from the charge of, I must be a bad parent that everybody's yelling. No, everybody's yelling because we're sheltered in place. You're human. And sometimes the feelings get the best of you. You know what that means? It gets your voice. It doesn't get your love. Okay, I hope you tracked that. All right, this last part. I don't know if it's my favorite, but I know parents and professionals love it. So we're going to go to the next slide. If it will go. Next slide. Thank you. So these are 5 keys to communication. They are key to how we manage our emotions. Think about when you lose your keys. I haven't lost them much because I can't go anywhere basically. So that's a plus. But when I lose my keys, I don't go like, kumbaya, yay, this is so calming. You're like, has anybody seen my keys? Again, I don't know what your house looks like, but that would be how my house looks. So I would say that I get amped up because I'm under the stress of not being able to find things. That's why I called these the keys, because parents, kids, adults, all people lose it. And you know how you go, oh my God, I lost it. What we're really talking about is you lost your keys. So let me show you the keys. Next slide, please. Key 1. This one's going away. It is a great habit to call someone's name before you start talking. We're really not good at this. We're not good at this for a couple reasons, and then I'll give you the tool. I think it's because of this, because I can multitask, and I can tell you, she totally got what I said when I'm like, hey, did you do your laundry? But it's not our best move. You know this. We have habits. I would say to my family, hey, I went to this class. I'm in a detox on the phone. I am going to really watch if I look at it when I don't need to. When you start modeling changing behavior, this is really helpful to kids' mental health and well-being. Okay, click a couple times on the slide. Thank you. The language I want you to get here is call name and wait for eye contact, especially with boys. Boys' brains tend to lock in single focus. So if a boy is building blocks, a boy is brushing teeth, a boy is watching a video game, and the dad or grandpa says, Kevin, and there's no adjustment in Kevin's face. Kevin's like, a grown-up could be, well, they're just not cooperating. He never listens. Could be true. But use key 1 and goof around and go, Kevin, and then be quiet. And then if that doesn't work, you walk close to the kid and do it just a little tap. And people go like, oh, it's you. Then you give the direction. Really powerful. I've gotten a lot of feedback, especially from parents of boys, that will say, God, it's so right. Sometimes I just have to touch his knee so he can kind of wake up, and then keep your direction short. If you're wanting a kid to do a direction, especially when they don't want to do, like go to bed, clean the dishes, kids don't go, yay, this is my prime time. They're like going to try to get out of it. Some kids like to be helpers, but none of mine did. So if you're going to give a direction in the classroom, anywhere, you call their name, keep it short, and you've got more of a chance because it was short, they got it, you know it registered. All right, let's go to key 2. Key 2, and you can click because I want thank you 2 more times, because there's 3 pieces of language here I want you to grab. Key 2 is your voice. We do a way better job with volume. So we'll say, use your inside voice, or use your big boy voice. I'm not a big fan of that. I can tell you why. So what we want to teach kids, all ages, and we want to model is when we have feelings, our voice can lose control. Okay, think of the keys. I lost my keys. Oh, I lost my voice. Whoops. So if I'm mad or I'm hurt, or definitely I've had a lot of this lately rested in place with a lot of smoke. I live in California. It's a lot. Okay, cranky is coming to the surface. That my voice, if I fight or do any kind of voice that's not connecting, then I start over. So watch. Would you get out of my room? Okay. That was, will you get out of my room? Same words, different voice. So instead of going at yelling as my kids yell and tantrum and blah, 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 first, yeah, you've got real kids that need practice. You took a ton of time with this. You took a ton of time teaching your kids to look both ways before they cross the street, because their life depends on it. I'm saying their life does not depend on these keys, but if you present them explicitly, you start to practice the keys. You start to be interested. The family starts doing this. Relationships and wellness really depends on us being able to regulate and communicate feelings. So no fighting voices. We want talking voices, but sometimes your message is very serious, and or you did use a talking voice and nobody listened. Actually, they did listen. They just didn't cooperate. So I want you to bring home or in the classroom serious voice. And it's not this. I asked you nicely. That is not a serious voice. A serious voice is slowed down. Time to pick up the toys. Okay. Family, it is dinner. Time to come to the table. It's slow. And the reason why you want to do that is when you have hard to have feelings, it's stress. You all know this. It's fight or flight. You haven't been practicing this key. Okay? Maybe some of you had, the majority, I doubt it. And so what will happen is you slow down, then you have less of a chance of bad words coming out of your mouth or regretful words. And you also don't amp up the other person. Because if I fight, the other person fights. But if I just stay with my feelings, they're just as big. I'm totally frustrated. What do you mean distance learning and this and that? And, I'm frustrated. We want kids to keep their frustration, bring it down, talk about it with a talking voice or serious voice. You got my point. Okay, next key. Okay, we're going to click 3 times, I believe, because the common language is, yes, one more time, because I think we're going to, and even one more time. Good, you're going to like these ones. 60%, somewhere in there, I never believe the numbers when it's exact. I think it's like 63% is of how we read people and how people are reading us is in a 4-second size up. You just get a hit off someone, hot or cold, okay? If you're introverted or you're from a culture that doesn't send a lot of friendly signals, like, people might think stuff that isn't true, like you're unfriendly. No, you're not unfriendly, you just don't show it. So I love this key because we don't want to miscommunicate. I want to really understand you, and I'd also like to be understood. So here's our language. Hey, you guys, I don't know if I have ever thought about it this way, but when we get frustrated in this house, I want us to watch our eyes because we're not using fighting eyes around here. We're using talking eyes. We can handle it. And hey, by the way, when you don't feel like your brothers and sisters or people are listening, do you know what the serious eyes are? Watch. These are talking. Serious is just a little bit wider. And no one can see you. Please do this for me. I want you to do fighting eyes. Now do serious eyes. Fighting. Serious. It looks corny. Game changer. I can't ask you the question because you can't respond right now. But when I'm in a big gym or something, I ask people, and you can talk to me. And they go, wow, I really do. I feel a little bit calmer. Yeah. So watch yourself and coach your kids that, our eyes will get the best of us. If we do fighting eyes, then the people do fighting eyes back. And it's just the same old rinse, lather, repeat. But we use serious eyes. And so now when you see kids that are fighting with their brothers and sisters, which is like regular, okay, they're learning how to manage emotions, share space, be sheltered in place. Oh my goodness. So you can say, whoop, serious voices, turning off fighting voices, turning on serious voices. But they need to know what that is, and they need practice. Okay, the talking hand is necessary in life because people take stuff. They take it by accident or they take it on purpose. So, maybe, okay, here's my lipstick. So let's say my sister just went like this and took it. It could be no big deal. But if it's a big deal, if someone grabs from you, your body grabs back. So you tell your family, you tell the classroom, you say, wow, let me grab from you and see what your body wants to do back. And they're like, they can get it. Say, we don't grab back because what would happen when you grab back? 3-year-olds will tell you. They'll fight you. So you go like this. Bigger kids, you just go like this. This basically means give it back. And sisters and brothers might not give it back. So you turn up the seriousness and say, please give it back. Now, some kids might whip it at you because they feel kind of sorry and I'm scared they're going to get in trouble, but they gave it back to you. For little kids, we say, please give it back. Having the motor movement, please give it back, keeps their hands busy, helps them get the words out, helps the other person hopefully give it back. And then we say, I asked nice. And then the next sentence is, do I have to get a grown-up or a teacher, depending on where you're teaching the key? Okay, key 1, get out of that habit of talking dinner, dinner, before having people's attention. Again, you can't do it all the time, but just up your game a little there. Key 2, I wonder what we do with our voice under the stress of emotion. Talking voice, serious voice. Key 3, your eyes. It's kind of interesting. I'm going to see what we do with our eyes. We're going to have family discussions about it. Let the kids get into it. Let them tell you about other people's eyes. Let them tell you about people that are good at this. This is how we learn. All right, key 4. Words do matter. Words really matter, and we're pretty good at this. We say to kids in schools, we say to them at home, use your words. The only thing, there's a couple things that's not helpful about that. When you are in emotion, I'm going to take insecure and jealous. When you're in emotion, the wrong words can come out of your mouth because you just kind of blah, blah, blah. So you have to give kids the words. Little kids need short sentences. Older kids, think about predictable situations they're in and make up a sentence. We do this as grown-ups. If you're going to go to a party or you're going to go to an event, some people rehearse. They might not even realize they're doing this. They'll think, oh, when I meet people, oh, if I forget the name, you do this, I do this. We get ready. Do it with your kids. If they have a problem, one kid has a problem with the sibling, say, yeah, that sounds like a problem. Get your, which feelings? Yeah, you're mad, frustrated, I'd be all of those things. And then what are words that they are off limits? Okay. And I like the word ouch. I think we're not ever too old to say ouch. So I say to my kids, I say in a classroom, if I hear words that are hurtful, I will say ouch. And often that's all I'll need, a little signal, because it registers. And then some kids need help because the size of their feeling is so big. So many of you know this. When someone is so escalated, it is the exact wrong time to talk. So why not say that we take a time out, we cool down. We use that strategy in most other areas explicitly. Why don't we just make agreements in classrooms, in the home, that when I'm struggling, I'm taking a time out. But I then, if I took the time out, need to come back and say, I'm ready. And I'm with my helpful words, because hurting words hurt. And I've heard it said, hurt people hurt people. And I think that is true. Okay, last key. I talked about this at the beginning. To me, this is the planet changer. It is the edit key. Every other area of kids' schooling and home training is to edit. You give them a pencil and you don't say, well, don't show anyone you made a mistake. Yeah, they like aggressively use that and wreck the paper. They're learning that you can make mistakes everywhere. But I think very few people talk about feelings like this. And the people that do come and say, oh my gosh, my kids are talking so different. I feel different because I'm looking at feelings differently. It's not kumbaya, do, let's all go to the peace corner. I'm not putting that down, but it's got an intellectual component. It's a thing, numbers, letters, feelings, and the keys are intellectual, but you need to practice them so you can actually access them when you have gigantic feelings or you're under stress. I don't even know how you found time to come to this tonight because of the stress of working and all this, but I hope it's because of the outstanding platform This organization is put together, and also with the help of the Hitt family, who I never met them, but they are making a big impact. And I hope this will impact you. So click the slide. And now I'm going to, yes, and one more, please. So we're going to say we're second chance families. I'm going to stop sharing our screen and then go for Q&A to wrap. What I would like to say to all professionals and teachers is that the keys are the key to connection. All feelings are okay. We name them. Some kids can show rather than tell. We calm them. We redo, and everybody needs one person. We tell kids all the time, feelings like to be shared. You need one person you can talk to. For older kids, my favorite activity is I take the Kimochis and I turn and I say, all right, 8th graders, put all the feelings under the basket that you think kids your age don't like to share. And put the ones on the basket that, yeah, I'll tell you that anytime. And it's a duh. I know what's under the basket. And they can do it with this. Ask your kids, because they will tell you, not going to tell you I'm afraid, not going to tell you I'm sad, not going to tell you I'm embarrassed, because I'm too embarrassed to tell you I'm embarrassed. So we come full circle. Feelings fuel behavior. Kids don't talk about feelings because, hey, I didn't have a class. Well, now the world knows we need social emotional development. Bingo, yay. And for my thinking, there's no one right program. Just like, there's some strong programs, but there is an orientation and a language that if we all see it the same way and we practice, we have a chance. I think we have a very good chance now with COVID, because right now there's so much going on in the world that is full of feelings. We've got politics, we've got Black Lives Matter, we've got smoke here, we've got hurricanes, we've got distance learning, blah, blah, blah. We need to cut each other slack. We need to do just what needs to be done, and we need to practice our keys and stay mindful of our own tone of voice, our own words, so that people will listen to us when we talk about our anger, because things do need to change, but they will never change if we don't get people being able to talk in a more connected way. Okay, pause, Ellen Dodge, so we can ask questions. And I'm going to put my
Thank you so much. I have a lot of questions for you, so we'll see if we can get to all of them. And I know that I'm going to start practicing trying not to lose my keys, even though it happens sometimes. Okay, our first question is there a way to help parents regulate their emotions when working with a teenager that is also struggling with that?
Yes. First, I'm going to go fast. Please take the long view. This means, and I got this from Oprah Winfrey, and it served me. Go 5, 5, 5. My kid is in the room. They're struggling. They're doing all these things that are hard. In 5 months, is this going to be a problem? Yes. 5 years? Please no. But if you can morph it out or look back at another rough patch, oh, I'm not in that anymore. Now I'm in this. It helps. But sometimes you need to get extra help. Just like if I broke my arm, I'd go get a cast. If a kid is in a challenging behavior for a long time, you go get help. No shame.
Great, thank you. Okay, the next question. How do you respond to repetitive, challenging behaviors when you feel like you've tried everything?
I'm just kidding. First, it's the frame. Yes, I've tried everything. And some humans take longer periods of time to get something to a good enough level. So I think part of it is the parents' emotions of being able to say, I have emotions about my kids' challenging behavior. A great tool that I just learned from another parent educator, Leslie Potter. She's Pure Joy Parenting. And she does this. And you could go, she's got a couple of videos, you can get the idea. Put your hand on your heart to calm your own engine. This kind of goes with the first question too, because you have feelings. Then in your brain, you're going, oh, those keys. I really want to yell. I really want to say, why did I have kids? All that stuff, right? So kids that you've tried everything, you calm your engine, you practice more, and you think, who is the parent I know? Because you know parents. Turn to a parent that has been in a similar situation or has had a kid that's gone through a rough patch. That is going to be your beacon of hope.
Wonderful. Okay, so this came in from a few different people. How do you respond to aggressive and hurtful behavior? So an example would be if I took my child's toy away and they said, I hate you, how can I respect their feelings but also respond appropriately? Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I got my dog sheltered in place right over here. Okay, a couple things. Expected. Most kids, when we have to set a boundary, don't say, you're one of the good parents. I mean, that's funny. That's the first thing. Expect a behavior, so get in front of it. If you're starting to, after this course, be like, hey, let's put the flashcards out for little kids and let's talk about a behavior called hitting dad, hitting mom, saying, I hate you, you're a poo-poo head. You're going to come at it from a feeling, and you're going to say, when our bodies get very, very mad, we can say big, mean things that are not true. That's a great sentence. It's not true that they hate you. It's not true that you're a poo-poo head. You already know that. But now I can say to my kid that says that right to my eyes, wow, I get it. You're mad because I have to take the whatever they have away from you. That's my job. I have to keep you safe. So again, this is such a short class, but I hope you're getting the idea. Kids will do things like say things, hit you, and it doesn't mean you're a bad parent or you got a naughty kid. It means, wow, they got big feelings. They need a replacement behavior. So I also think with kids ahead, when you get so mad at mommy or daddy, this is for little kids, I'll show you up to 17, 18. I can't let you hit me, but you can, and you show them where they can get their mad out, because that's their mad. They get to be mad, as that parent said. I honor your mad. All feelings are okay. Hitting's never okay. We have a sentence. Go on Kemojis. We got so many free things. It says, you can be mad, but you can't be mean. Like, I can remember to say that to my kid. Yeah, go be mad. You could be mad. I get it. You can't be mean. And so you got to tell them how to be mad without mean.
I think that's good advice for all of us. So
it really is, Bethany. This is for the tall people too. Like, people come to my work or read my stuff and go, oh, this is for the little kids. We have hope for them because you can teach them, but this is for everybody.
Mm-hmm. It's really important for all of us to remember. Thank you for that. What do you do with teenagers who don't talk to you about feelings and spend a lot of time in their room?
Oh, I know about this, and I know how scary it can feel. So I'll give you a couple strategies and a framework. The bedroom is a very important place for a teenager. And some of our kids share that space with siblings. That's a dynamic. Where in their whole world can they block it out? You know what I'm saying, okay? So we want to say to kids, so glad you have a room. Or if they have a teenager has a room and they share it with a little 4-year-old who has a dolly, it's so annoying to the teenagers. So you can honor, you're doing a big thing for our family because this is the size of our house. Our family has such big love, we can do the size of our house. That's 1. 2, watch what you do when they come out of their room. If you put a GoPro on your kid and watch what we do when they come out finally, most of us, this is judging, do the wrong thing. They're going to go back to the room and they're not going to tell you anything. They're going to tell you what you want to hear because we give them directions. We go, did you feed the dog? I mean, it's not even hi. Again, Please don't be offended if you don't do this, because I don't know who you are, but this is how most humans in a house, raising a family, working, doing life, we do. So watch. Oh, sorry, you just walked out of your room and I started asking you a million questions. Okay, so that's one. Be quiet around your teenagers. Use positive body language. Kids don't like a lot of blah, blah, blah. Okay, here's another good one. This worked like a champ. You have hopefully things you want your kids to do that they need to do, like big jobs, not stuff that they don't want to do. They've got to get some muscles, but don't tell them, because it doesn't work. So we would put A and B list out on the table, and I would write down, oh, you got to take 2 jobs off the A list, 2 jobs off the B list. A list are easy things, B list is hard things. First one up gets to choose. So that was a good strategy. Also, when you think of something that you want to ask or tell your kid, write it down before you say it, especially if you have a low talker teen. Okay, so the whole idea I hope you grab there is, this is normal. Now, if there are some things that are concerning and you have concern, then follow your concern and go talk to someone. Because parents, I couldn't help all of my kids. I needed helpers. I needed counselors, I needed teachers, I needed doctors, I needed dentists, I needed all these helpers to help them go off and let the world teach them more. But I wanted to be connected. And now that they're in their 20s and they have really bigger problems, like life problems, they're more likely to text me or talk to me. And it actually cracks me up. The one that hates the feelings, just hates that I do this. She's just not her cup of tea. She's the one starting to go like, I really get it, Mom. But she's 24. So it's a long journey, and we don't even get breaks now. Because when I worked, that was my day. I got to like go and have a whole cup of coffee. So I hope that helped teen parents.
Very, very helpful. Thank you. The next one I have is that some cultures, so one of the keys talked about different kinds of eye contact. And in some cultures, too much eye contact or excessive eye contact is not appropriate. Do you have another strategy that you find helpful for that key?
It's not another strategy, it's an adjustment that we talk about talking. Oh, our culture, talk about what it is, demystify the whole thing. This is what's so cool about SEL in a classroom, so that a teacher can come in and talk about different cultures so we don't mistake, oh, you didn't ask me to play with eye contact. That means something it doesn't even mean. So you talk about it, and then you go, oh, what's the intention? A key one. The intention is to have someone's attention. Okay, so how does your family want to get connected in at the beginning? The other is for our children that have labels autism, mild to moderate, a little bit of Asperger's. Some of these children and grown-ups, it's super uncomfortable and more. So it can help, not all, to say, oh, tell my eyes, tell your brother's eyes. Oh, there's the eyes, tell the story to your grandpa's eyes. That has gotten some traction with kids, that it's not cultural, they're just not comfortable yet.
Great, thank you. So this came in from a few different people. How do you respond to kids who cry, sulk, and throw tantrums when you say no, or when crying is their go-to whenever there's a challenge? Our focus is resiliency for this conference, so how do we help them become a little bit stronger when there's challenge?
Crying is a strength. First of all those things that you described, Bethany, those are all behaviors. So parent, grandparent, who's ever listening and asking that, I want your brain to say, oh, you're saying, oh no, they're going to be crying their whole life and they don't have any muscles. Well, they don't yet. And so crying and all those things are communicating they have a big feeling. So the first thing is I say, you're having big feelings. So they know you're already connected with them. And now I lost the thread, Bethany. Tell me.
I threw multiple questions in there, but how do you respond? So you gave us kind of that first step, and then how do you help them cope when they are crying and
Okay. So then again, all these strategies are the same. We are with our kids when they're in a peaceful place. I'm playing with that kid. Like we're shoveling, we're walking the dog, we're on bikes, we're in the car. And you just authentically say, I noticed this thing that when it's time to do homework, that looks really hard for you. Am I getting that right? Or when I have to say no more screens, am I getting that right? Now I've joined them and they're like, yeah, I don't like it at all. And then you say, well, yeah, that makes sense to me. Most kids don't like it at all when it's time to set the table. So you memorize a couple sentences that are true and connecting. And then to help them get resilient, you start practicing what they can do so they can make themselves do stuff they don't want to do. That's like one of the number one things you need in life. Like, I don't want to go to the dentist, but I can make myself go. So these kinds of ways of talking to the kids and thinking about our kids will help us. Last, very helpful idea. I've got a lot of play with all three of my kids on this. I try to say yes instead of no. So with little kids, I'll say, oh, I can't say yes to that. And somehow it goes better. Like, oh, I can't say yes to more cookies. It kind of sounds like I'm bummed out. And they don't hear the word no. So again, oh, I can't say yes to staying up to midnight. With little kids, or I wish I could for older kids. I wish I could let you take the car, but you don't have your license. Keep practicing. I also will say, this is a no, but here's a yes. And that tends to keep the boundary. No, this is hot. You can't touch it, but here's something you can play with. So I hope that helps.
very helpful. I love the am I getting it right question, because if you're wrong, they're going to tell you hopefully then too, no, that's not what I meant. That's not why I'm upset.
And Bethany, let's just pause there because a couple sentences to goof around with to see what it does for you and your family. We all have patterns of communication that don't work. Okay. So it's like, hi, how are you? That pattern. So when a kid is doing something or not doing something, try to get them. Do a couple sentences like, something's going on. Help me. What's the story here? Get one of those sentences out of today and see if that doesn't take you to a better place.
I love it. Okay, so this is interesting. This is shifting the conversation a little bit. So people, adults, typically have fixed or set communication styles. And even if they already have an awareness of social emotional learning or komochis, do you have any suggestions on how to help the adults invest in the practice when it doesn't necessarily align with their communication style or how they work with youth?
Yeah, one key at a time, one feeling at a time. If I wanted to get good at relaxation, I would practice. I would get an app, I would get a coach, I would know I'm going to fall off the wagon. I've fallen off meditation so many times, but it's the same with communication, Bethany and everyone. Like, oh, I would go to my family and say, I took this class and I don't know about you, but I think I'm pretty good at body language. What do you guys think? But there's a key about yelling. And I think I'm not good at that one yet. Will you help me? And that approach is so easygoing. And then if you really want to get better, you just have to decide, are you just wanting to get better? Or are you really, all you have to write Post-it notes, do whatever you do that helps your learning and be like, oh yeah, key two, and redo. Like the redo is your friend. Some of the things that I've done that I'm the least proud of, I think are the best stories now with my kids. Like, I remember the time mom did that. It's a bonder. Took years to make it bonding. Number two, some of my profound limitations in communication and in life, I'll name, because then if yelling is the one I typically do with parents because it's the one we lose the most. I'll say, I don't know that I can get any better at this, but I am in will you guys all help me focus on this? And I need feedback. If I'm doing better, give old dad or mom a thumbs up. Parents, professionals, this is a relationship builder. Turn to someone and don't try to fix them. Just get curious about which key you'd like to practice, and then get a little better, and a little better is a little better.
Okay, I think we have time for one more question for you. Do you have a key that you see as being most important, or the first place to start?
The redo. Because if I don't get better at anything and I can't do anything else, I just go home and say, oh my gosh, took this class. All feelings are okay. All behaviors aren't. But when I do behaviors I'm not proud of, I'm going to redo. And I'm going to expect the same of you. That's the one. I actually think, Bethany, that I don't know who could do this, but if we had like public service announcements brought to you and the redo, bring the redo, and we had a campaign, that could bring a lot of peace, more peace. And when I was little, this was cool. Like people go, if you made a mistake, people would be like, or if you were driving and someone cut you off, you'd go, and that meant kind of redo, like, don't worry, I make mistakes too. So I think we need something into the universe, no matter what culture you are, to say, we make mistakes and we get to start over, and you don't get to say, well, you just did it and now you're going to suffer, anyway.
That was the perfect way to end things, because we have talked a lot about giving grace and forgiveness, and the redo is right up those lines. So Ellen, thank you so much. This was fascinating. I wish we could listen to you longer. For more information on the remaining webinars or for resources on substance abuse and addiction, please visit the actonaddictionnow.org. We're also putting this link in the chat. Our next webinar is Addiction and the Family, When COVID, Addiction, and Isolation Intersect, with Kate Appelman on Thursday, September 17th at 12 p.m. We would be so appreciative if you could also take our survey. The link is also being put in the chat for you. This will help us evaluate our sessions for this year and provide vital information to shape next year's conference, whether virtual or in person. We will be sharing the recording of the session and all resources at the completion of the webinar series. Thank you all so much for joining us today, and we hope to see you at the next webinar. Have a great night.